1.6 seconds. We needed good defense for 1.6 seconds. We didn't do that. Winnipeg scores 2 goals in the final 2 minutes, one of them with 1.6 seconds left. I cannot emphasize that enough. 1.6 seconds, and then we lose it in double overtime and we're eliminated. We lost to the Winnipeg Jets in 7 games. The President's Trophy winners took it to us in the final couple minutes. That was tough. That was a tough loss right there. We did good considering everything. Like the St. Louis Blues from the start of the season, I saw as a fringe wildcard team. Truthfully, I didn't even think this team would make the playoffs. But we made it into the playoffs after a miracle run following 4 nations. We put some pressure on the President's Trophy winners, but we eventually lost in double overtime of Game 7 after allowing a goal with 1.6 seconds left. I think that's the most infuriating part about this. If we lost to the Winnipeg Jets in 5 games or even 6 games, you know what? We lost to a team that was the President's Trophy winners. It is what it is. We lost because we allowed a goal with 1.6 seconds left. We just need to play defense for another 1.6 seconds. We didn't do that, and just like that, we're eliminated. And as you can see, of course, I simulated to the end of the season, and things, of course, went our way. A 29-44-9 record. So yeah, we're rebuilding the St. Louis Blues after this season, of course, the 2024-2025 season. And then, of course, because NHL 25 continues to disrespect my boys, we are going to end up getting the 5th overall pick because we're going to drop from 3 to 5 because that makes the most sense. But yes, the St. Louis Blues, that was a tough one. That was really tough. Yeah, I got nothing to say. But don't you worry. I'm rebuilding the St. Louis Blues. We're getting the 5th overall pick. So clearly we're going to get an amazing player here. That's actually not the case. So what I'm going to do, considering the St. Louis Blues made the playoffs in real life and not in NHL 25 where the team is constantly disrespected, we're going to select somebody projected 18th or higher. So when it comes to bringing a player to the team here, it has to be somebody 18th or higher. I think we're going to go with this guy right here, medium top 4 potential. He'd be a great addition to the team. We need defensemen on this team. That's what we're desperately lacking. We need some good young defensemen. The forward core for the future, it's looking amazing. We don't have to worry about that. Our defense is a massive question mark. So we're going to go with this defenseman right here. He's going to have medium top 4 potential, 69 overall. Ideally, he's going to be joining the team in 3 seasons. But you know what? We can't guarantee that. But yeah, that was a tough loss. I really don't have too much to say. Can we get a medium elite defensive defenseman right here? I would be okay with that. We got ourselves a medium elite defensive defenseman. Things are turning around for us. So we only ended up having 3 picks in the draft because we traded a bunch away. In order to get Dylan Holloway and Phil Broberg, we had to give up picks. We really couldn't do too much at the draft here. But this is where things are going to get interesting. The re-sign phase. There are going to be players leaving this team. It's just the way it is. The first thing we got to do though, re-sign Jim Montgomery. He will return to this team. I'm not giving up on Jim Montgomery. He is the guy for us. Jim Montgomery is an amazing coach. He had an incredible year, but we're going to have to make some difficult decisions over the offseason here. We have to make a lot of trades because I think we have to embrace a bit more of a rebuild. Let's be honest here. Let's just be completely honest with the St. Louis Blues. We were 24th in the entire league at 4 nations. We went on an absolute miracle run, made the postseason, and finished 14th in the entire league. Are we going to go on that miracle run next season? Because if we don't go on that miracle run next season, we'd likely miss the playoffs. So I'm just going to state that right now. The St. Louis Blues next season are going to be a fringe wildcard team once again. We might miss the playoffs, we might make the playoffs, but I would not say it's guaranteed this team will make the playoffs next season because of how unsustainable our finish was after 4 nations. I'm not saying we're a bad team, but y'all have to realize we went like 18-4-2 after 4 nations. Imagine doing that over an 82 game season. You would finish with 60 plus wins. I don't think the St. Louis Blues are a 60 win team. I think we're a pretty solid team, but I don't think we're a 60 win team. So whether or not this team goes on an absolute heater next season, we're going to be a fringe wildcard team once again. When it comes to the re-sign phase, I think we're actually just going to let everyone walk here. Foxa, you were a great player. You picked up a big time goal, but you don't really fit the timeline here. You're 31 years old, so I'm going to let you walk. Ryan Suter, you're 40 years old, and for the rest of the time I am alive on this earth, I never want to see a Ryan Suter Nick Leddy pairing ever again. We had a Ryan Suter Nick Leddy pairing and we made it to Game 7 against the Winnipeg Jets. That's impressive in itself. When it comes to a handful of the young guys here, we'll do 2-way contracts, but yeah, nothing major is going to happen. We have $6 million in cap space, but we're going to make some moves, and next season we might be doing a little bit of a competitive tank. I guess this is going to be the big re-signing move here. Joel Hull for 1.3 for the next 2 years. You're a good backup. I'll keep you around. So when it comes to the future for the St. Louis Blues, Robert Thomas is up to a 91 overall. Okay, there are things to celebrate on this team. Robert Thomas is a 91 overall. This is after 1 season of simulation, so he developed to a 91 overall. NHL 25 has not made him even a 90 overall. That is disrespectful, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to make some moves here. And what are these moves going to be? Realistically, Justin Falk, we're moving on from you. You're 33 years old. You just don't fit the timeline here anymore. Torrey Krug, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he never played again. I think he has arthritis in his ankle now. Yeah, he's 34 years old. He's getting towards the end of his career. He had a pretty bad injury that he had to get surgery on. I wouldn't be surprised if Torrey Krug's career is over. Braden Shen, I think we'll hold on to you for 1 more year. You're a good leader on this team. Cam Fowler, I'm going to ride out your contract. Or if anything, I'll trade you away at the trade deadline 50% retained, and we should be able to get something for you. But as I mentioned earlier, the forward core for this team, I think, is an amazing spot for the future. The defense is a massive question mark. Like, let's just take a look at this defense right now. Colton Parayko, I don't know if you're a number 1 defenseman. I just don't think you have that in you. You're a great defenseman and all. You're not a number 1 guy, though. Phil Broberg had a great season. He's still young, only 24 years old. He's going to keep on developing. But then you have Justin Falk, Torrey Krug, Cam Fowler, Nick Leddy. That just doesn't give you a lot of confidence. And then when it comes to the system, Tyler Tucker, honestly, he didn't look too bad. I think he can be a good third-pairing defenseman for you. Adam Jiricek, I have questions about you, and the only reason for that is in your draft year, you tore your ACL and we drafted you. I remember another St. Louis Blues prospect who tore his ACL that had really high expectations. His name was Robbie Fabry. So yeah, a little bit concerned about that. Theo Lindstein, I think he's going to be a good young player in the future. He's shown some good potential. But yeah, we got to work on the defense here. So I think we got to pull off a massive trade to start us off. All right, so it's time to throw realism out the window. Justin Falk straight up for Mikey Anderson. Mikey Anderson, he's on a really good contract, 4.1 for the next 6 years. He's going to develop great alongside our team. Justin Falk, we ditched the contract, but we get a player who's much younger. I'll give up a Pittsburgh 5th round pick as well. I don't think that's going to be the difference, but 2 5th round picks might be. You know what? We actually might not even need another 5th round pick. Let's throw the lucrative 7th rounder in this deal, but that's not quite going to be enough. So we are going to have to do 2 5th round picks, 2 5ths, a 7th, and Justin Falk for Mikey Anderson. And we need a little bit more. So I guess we're doing 2 5ths, 2 7ths, and Justin Falk for Mikey Anderson. He fits the timeline here, and he's going to be a great piece. All right, so here's the next deal I'm looking at. And I think this actually could be a realistic trade for the St. Louis Blues if we include enough in the package. Like, realistically, Adam Jiricek's trade value would be higher than it is in NHL 25. Like, this man was drafted 16th overall, and you're telling me he has less trade value than Torrey Krug? Yeah, that's just not true. So if you packaged Adam Jiricek up with our 1st round pick for this season, which is probably going to be like the 19th overall, and then maybe a young forward prospect, could you bring Noah Dobson to the team? Noah Dobson would fit our timeline. He would help the Islanders. It would help them spark their rebuild. I highly doubt the Islanders would actually do that, though. Like, realistically, we're probably not even offering enough. And then 2, Noah Dobson's 25 years old, so you could technically rebuild the team while Noah Dobson's still there, and then say in 7 years when you've completed your rebuild, he's only going to be like 32 years old, so he could definitely help you compete for a Stanley Cup. But this is the package we're going to start with. I'm going to offer this over to the Islanders. They're saying no. I think we have to include a 1st round pick. Now, if we're including a 1st round pick, because I don't trust NHL 25, it's not going to be our 2026 1st round pick. It's going to be our 2027 1st round pick. I'm also going to take Otto Stenberg out of this deal. So Peros, the medium-league potential defenseman we drafted in our 1st round pick, is that enough for Noah Dobson? They're saying no. Stenberg, I'm going to have to throw you in this deal. Nothing against you, Stenberg, but you know what? We got to get the trade value up a little bit more, and I think you're enough to get this done. So Noah Dobson, welcome to the team. Alright, so here's what our next deal is going to be looking like. Torrey Krug over to the Edmonton Oilers. We're bringing in Podkolzin, $1 million for 1 season. That's a cheap enough contract to play on the 4th line. We're also going to get a 2nd round pick in this deal. But the best part about this, we free up $6.5 million. So now we're going to move over to the New York Rangers, and we're going after one of their RFAs. But it's actually not going to be Keandre Miller. It's going to be Will Cooley instead. So with that 2nd rounder we got from the Edmonton Oilers, we're going to package that up with a 3rd, and we're going to be bringing in Will Cooley. Now, I'm thinking this might be the final trade we make here. It's going to be Nick Leddy over to the Blackhawks. We're bringing in Joe Veleno. He'll play some 4th line minutes for us, but we get rid of Nick Leddy, and that's the thing I care the most about. So with all the moves we made, we do have extensions to give out here. Noah Dobson, we trade for you. You're an RFA. Of course, you're going to be sticking around with this team. However, I actually don't know how we're going to get this deal done, considering you don't have any contract interest whatsoever. So yeah, you want $8.8 million, but if I offer you $8.8 million, I don't think you're going to accept that. I'm going to offer it over anyways. I guess we'll just see what happens here. Phil Broberg, I would like to bring you back to the team. You want 6.4 for the next 3. I guess we can make that work. But I don't want to do 6.4 million. How about we get that down to about 5.7? So 5.7 for the next 3. That fits in our budget. Dylan Holloway, you're one of the most valuable pieces to this team. How much are you looking for? Yeah, we can certainly make this happen. I'll do 4.5 for the next 3 years. So Dylan Holloway is going to be sticking around. And then Will Cooley, how much are you looking for? Will Cooley's only looking for 2.4 million. How about we do a multi-year deal here? Like, how about we do 3 years at 2.8 million? How does that sound for you? That helps us. We lock you down for multiple years. You get the money that you want. I think that works out for everyone. Cam Fowler, you're going to be walking. Zachary Bolduc, a future 40 goal scorer. Yeah, I have a lot of faith in Zachary Bolduc. I think he's going to be a stud. We'll do 3 years at 2.2 million. And then Joseph Sundquist, both of you guys are going to walk. Joe Valeno, barring what you're looking for, we could probably bring you back to the team at 2.3 million. It's a little bit expensive, so I think we're going to hold off for now. One guy who is an absolute dog that I would bring back if he was a higher overall is Nathan Walker. Nathan Walker, an absolute dog. Bro looked amazing in the postseason for us, but he's 31 years old and he's a 78 overall, so he's not going to be getting any better. So I'm not going to bring him back to the team, even though I probably should. All right, this is where things really get stupid. So of course I offered a contract to Noah Dobson and he said no. For some reason, when it comes to certain RFAs, they will just refuse to sign with you. Like, he's now asking for 5.8 million, but look at his contract interest. No interest there whatsoever. You're the guy asking for 5.8 million, but if I give you 5.8 million, it's not going to be enough. So I'm going to have to offer you like 7.5 million on a 1-year deal just to get you to sign with our team, and then I'll give you an extension later. Honestly, it's stupid sometimes. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Noah Dobson said no to that offer right there. Oh, he's actually accepting. I'm a little bit shocked at that. Now on paper, I think this is a pretty solid team here. Robert Thomas, Busnevich, Jimmy Snuggerud on the top line, Jordan Kyrou, Zachary Bolduc, Dylan Holloway on the second. Then we got Will Cooley, Braden Shen, Jake Neighbors on the third line. Texier, Joe Valeno, and Dalibor Dvorsky are going to hold down the fourth line. That's a pretty good offensive core right there. Phil Broberg, Noah Dobson's the top pairing. That's looking amazing. Then we got Parenko and Mikey Anderson holding down the second. And then Cam Fowler and Tyler Tucker on the third pairing. And then when it comes to goaltending, you already know we got Benner in between the pipes. 84 overall. It should be a bit higher than that, but we're not going to discuss it. So where will this team finish? Probably bottom 5, because NHL 25 hates the St. Louis Blues. I could build an 82-0 team, and that team would somehow lose in the first round in a sweep. That's just the way it works. The game hates the St. Louis Blues. Nothing you can do about it. So let's just go ahead, submit it up to the trade deadline, and ideally, the game doesn't hate me too much. Now, we all know that NHL 25 disrespects the St. Louis Blues, but things are actually going better than I thought they would be. 20th in the entire league, a 29-25-9 record. We already have more wins than we did last season. The offense is 3 goals per game, which needs to be better, but the defense is 2.86. And that doesn't seem too bad. So it's good to see our defense is better. We just have to work on the offense, but the offense is going to get better while the young guys develop. Robert Thomas, 66 points so far. Busnevich, 52. Jordan Kyrou, 51. Jimmy Snuggerud, you're playing top line minutes, but you only have 32 points so far. You're an 84 overall. I need a little bit more from you. You're a bit of a disappointment right now, but you know what? We're going to trust the process here. Dylan Holloway, 37 points. Maybe I should move you up to the top line. Like, maybe we should rock Dylan Holloway, Busnevich, and Robert Thomas on the first line, and then Jordan Kyrou, Snuggerud, and then maybe like Will Cooley on the second. That wouldn't be that bad of a line. We could do that, but I do want Zachary Bolduc to play some second line minutes right now, but he could be a good third line guy for us. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered over the next couple of years. Jordan Bainton, 23 wins, 6 shots, and 915 to 282. He's been amazing so far, but we're going to do a bit of selling at the deadline here. Cam Fowler, you've been great for us, but we just have to move on. All right, now I might seem a bit crazy here, but I think this could be the move. Cam Fowler at 50% retained and Jake Neighbors sent over to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we bring in Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes would be an upgrade. We play him on the first line. That means Jimmy Snuggerud can move down to the second line where he actually has a better fit. And supposedly Matthew Nyes fits on our first line, so that could be the move here. And I think it is the move. Like, Toronto gets another defenseman that they need right now. They get a Matthew Nyes replacement in Jake Neighbors. Although I don't think Jake Neighbors is quite as good as Matthew Nyes, he could definitely play the role. So we're going to try to get Matthew Nyes in a 3rd round pick here. They're going to be rejecting it, but I think if we include a 7th, we can get this deal done. But I don't think we actually have a 7th rounder, so we're just a 6th rounder instead. But I do want that 3rd round pick. Matthew Nyes, welcome to the team. Now, I think the only problem we have right now is we actually have a surplus of power forwards. We could use a sniper here. So Will Cooley, after going through all that effort to bring you to the team, we actually might be moving you because we need a sniper. And JJ Peterka, you could be the guy for us. So I've actually changed my mind. We're not going to go for JJ Peterka, and instead we're going to pick up Owen Tippett here. He's going to play some top 6 minutes for us. He's going to develop into that star sniper that he should be. Joe Veleno in the 3rd round pick's being given up here. Joe Veleno's developed into an 85 overall. He's going to want a hefty payday, but right now he's playing bottom 6 minutes. So we might as well bring in Owen Tippett, who's going to play some top 6 minutes, and then not pay a guy like Joe Veleno $6 million when he's going to play bottom 6 minutes. That just doesn't make sense. If I'm paying you $6 million, you better play some top line minutes for me. Now after the trade deadline, the Blues stepped it up. However, it just wasn't enough to get into the postseason. 18th in the entire league, a 40-31-11 record. But you know what? This team's starting to roll here. The offense is bad though. Like, we can't ignore that. 2.98 goals per game. That's not going to be good enough here. Unless our defense is absolutely perfect, the offense has to be better than that. Robert Thomas, 81 points. Jordan Kyrou, 69. Buchnevich, 68. Dylan Holloway, 56. Now, like, NHL 25 is really disrespecting my boys. We all know they should be better than that. When it comes to goaltending, Benner, 30 wins, 6 shots, a 913, a 296. No, these should have been good enough numbers to get you into the postseason. Like, 6 shutouts. Bro is locked in this season. 20% of his wins came from shutouts. We clearly didn't supply him with enough. The Florida Panthers are Stanley Cup champions. Year number 1's in the books here. But you know what? We're trending in the right direction. That's a good sign. Now, we're not seeing any crazy jumps when it comes to the draft lottery results. We're going to be sticking with the 15th overall pick, but in the event we can move up, we will, but I highly doubt that's going to happen here. So we're just going to keep things as simple as possible. We're going to select this medium top 6 potential player. At least we know what we're going to be getting here. That was the safe selection. All right, so we've made to the re-sign phase. Noah Dobson, please work with me here. 11.6 million is a bit steep, but you know what? We have the cap space to do so you're going to return to this team. We'll do 10.5 for the next 8 years. Noah Dobson, welcome back. So after this Noah Dobson deal, how much money do we actually have to work with here? Joseph, you're probably going to be walking here. Sundqvist, Texier, Torpchenko, Podkolzin, Zach Dean. A lot of you guys are going to be walking. If you're willing to sign 2-way contracts, I'll bring you back. Like Zach Dean, we can do 2 years at 900K. That works for me. You're returning to the team. Matt Kessel, we're going to do something similar. It's 800K for the next 2. Nathan Walker, are you willing to sign a 2-way contract? Yes, you are. So yeah, Nathan Walker is going to be returning to the franchise. But when it comes to Joseph, Sundqvist, Texier, I think all of you guys are going to be walking. Texier, you're only wanting 1.6 million. I guess I could bring you back then. We'll do 1.5 for 1 season. Alex Texier, welcome back to the team. And then Torpchenko, I guess if you're willing to accept the exact same deal, you're actually willing to accept for less, so that's 1.3 for 1 season. Everyone else will be signed to 2-way contracts. So yeah, we're actually in a pretty solid spot right now. All right, so we got some extensions to hand out. Benner's going to be getting the first here. We're going to be looking for 5.5 million for the next 4 years, and he's going to be willing to sign that. So Benner's going to be returning. Joel Holfer, ideally we can do a pretty cheap contract with you, 800K for the next 2. That's perfect. Then when it comes to guys like Jimmy Snuggerud and Dalibor Dvorsky, it could get a bit sketchy, but you know what? 2.7 for Jimmy Snuggerud, that works for me. So Snuggerud's coming back to the team. Dalibor Dvorsky, we probably should get a similar deal done. It's going to be 2.2 for the next 2 years. We're bringing all the important pieces back. Things are looking good right now. But I shouldn't get ahead of myself here. Tyler Tucker, here's 1.6 for the next 2 years. I got to keep you around as well. Now we're going to make one free agent signing, and that's going to be Liljegren. It's going to be 2.8 for the next 2 years. He can play some third pairing minutes. He's going to be a good defenseman for us. All I need him to do is play his role here. Now, we made a couple moves over the offseason, but the biggest move we made was bringing in a new coach. Now, why did I get rid of Jim Montgomery? Well, basically, he just didn't have a good fit with the team. Plain and simple. It's not that Jim Montgomery's a bad coach, but when it comes to NHL 25, he just didn't have a good fit with the team here. There was really nothing I could have done. I talked with players to change their play style in order to have better line chemistry, and they all told me, nah, we're not doing that. So yeah, we had to make the moves we did. We're actually in a better spot because of it. I expect the St. Louis Blues to make the playoffs, and they might be able to do a little bit of damage here. We should be able to score some goals this season. Also, Owen Tippett, if you regress anymore or do absolutely nothing once we get to the trade deadline, I am trading you. Like, I don't know why you lost 2 X Factors and dropped 2 overalls. Yeah, that really wasn't part of the plan. Okay, I am absolutely stunned with where the St. Louis Blues are ranked because we have a good record right now. Like, we're a good team. 13th in the entire league is a 36-22-3 record. I feel like this should be way higher than 13th in the entire league. Maybe I'm just unaware of how competitive the league is right now. Yeah, the league is really good. I'm assuming the bottom teams are just absolutely terrible. Yeah, we have a lot of teams that are really bad. Montreal, Anaheim, Kings, Utah, Carolina. Yeah, those teams are just not performing. But when it comes to the top of the top. Yeah, there's a lot of competition here. We're going to have our hands full over the next couple years. Robert Thomas is currently over a point a game. Never thought I'd see the day. 65 points, 20 goals, 45 assists. Buchnevich 62 points. Jordan Kyrou 62. Matthew Knies 52. But we got to work on that first line. The first line doesn't have a positive plus minus right now. The second line's elite. But Owen Tippett, you have 49 points in 61 games. You're up to an 85 overall. I'm still contemplating trading you. Like, you're a good player, and you've been better this season. Benner hasn't been the greatest, but you know what? We're in the playoffs right now. I can't really complain, but I think we need a bit of scoring on that top line. We got to bring in a sniper. I mean, we do have a sniper in Owen Tippett, but he's just not performing as I thought he would. Oh, this is glorious. I didn't think I would ever see the day. Robert Thomas, 93 overall, exact franchise potential. He's getting the respect he deserves. Now, you know what? In theory, I probably should trade Owen Tippett and try to get a different sniper, but you know what? He hasn't been terrible this season, and then ideally by the beginning of next season, maybe he's gained an X factor or two back. He'll be back up to an 86 overall, and then we might have everything we need to compete for a Stanley Cup. Until then, I don't want to make any trades here. I like what we have, so we're just going to rock with the team we have. Nah, the downfall of this St. Louis Blues season is going to have to be studied. We have collapsed after the trade deadline. Everything that could have went wrong has gone wrong. We have now won back-to-back games. Can we make it 3 straight against the Winnipeg Jets? No, we can't. We are collapsing right now. We are absolutely collapsing. At one point, this team was like 22-9. We were looking incredible. We're making the playoffs here. But no, things have not gone our way to finish out the season. I'm not feeling too confident with the boys, but at least we're in the playoffs. So as we know, the St. Louis Blues are going to be making the playoffs here. We didn't have the greatest finish to the season, but 12th in the entire league with a 46-30-6 record. I'll take it. The offense was better this season. Buchnevich is going to finish with 84 points here. Jordan Kyrou 79. Robert Thomas 79, and he was -6. So clearly, he didn't have a great finish to the season. Dylan Holloway, 70 points. He's looking pretty solid right now. But Matthew Knies, Owen Tippett, nah, we're going to have to make some changes to this line. I think he had 4 goals after the trade deadline. Yeah, we should trade Owen Tippett. Owen Tippett, you're going to be moved next season. Matthew Knies, you were actually pretty solid. But yeah, Owen Tippett is just not good enough to be playing on our top line. When it comes to Benner's numbers, 33 wins, 5 shots, a 903 and a 303. I don't care about regular season numbers whatsoever. We're in the playoffs now, and everything's different in the playoffs. We have the Vancouver Canucks in the first round, but you know who else we have in the first round? NHL 25 Thatcher Demko. So things are going to be tough for sure. Now, we turned the St. Louis Blues around pretty quick here, but are we going to see any postseason success? We're going to find out pretty quick. We might be dropping game number 1, but I believe this team will respond in game number 2, and we got to wait for the simulation. It's really slow. We're dropping game 2. We're responding in game 3, though. Let's split the series moving through the first 4 games, and that's what we're going to do. So it's a best of 3 moving forward. The first 4 games don't mean anything anymore. Let's win game number 5, and of course, we're dropping that one in overtime. Why am I not surprised? So we're jumping into game number 6, the St. Louis Blues and Vancouver Canucks. If the Blues lose this game, they're going to be eliminated. Alexander Ovechkin's picking up 2 goals in the first period. Matthew Knies is going to pick up a goal in the second, but we're still trailing by 1. Matthew Knies, I need a hat trick from you in this game. And you know what? It might not be a Matthew Knies hat trick, but a shorthanded goal from Buchnevich and then a power play goal from Owen Tippett's going to allow us to steal this game. Owen Tippett, I might not trade you now. But you know what? I shouldn't gas you up too much because that could have been your first goal of the postseason for all I know. But you know what? At least you're scoring goals in the postseason here. We're moving into game 7. The last time St. Louis was in game 7, yeah, we're not going to talk about it because it was yesterday. And I'm not too happy about it still. We're going to be winning this game 6-2. Good to see the offense was flying. Vancouver's dropping back-to-back games. We're moving on to the second round. See, that's what we should have done against Winnipeg. Just score 6 goals. Now, unfortunately, we're cooked. We don't stand a chance against the Edmonton Oilers. And why is that? Well, who is their starting goaltender right now? Stuart Skinner? Nope, it's Kochetkov, who just posted a 948 and a 182 in the first round. We're done. So not only do they have the best offense in the league with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, they now have a goalie. Now, the Edmonton Oilers with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl plus a goaltender, that's a terrifying team, but we won the first 2 games, and we have a 3-1 series lead. Is Kochetkov an absolute fraud? He might be, but we also could blow a 3-0 series lead. We allowed 8 goals in game number 5. And we're probably dropping this one. We're moving into game 7. The second I have a little bit of confidence on our team, this is what happens. We got game 7 against the Edmonton Oilers. We got to get the offense rolling again. Matthew Knies and Broberg are picking up power play goals. But here goes Leon Draisaitl and Evan Bouchard. We're trailing by 1 goal entering the 3rd period. It's time for the offense to wake up yet again. We really scored 4 goals over the past 3 games. Like in the first 3 games of this series, we were lighting the lamp. 4 goals here, 1 goal here. We'll just ignore this game. But 5 goals here, 6 goals here, and then 0 goals, 2 goals, 2 goals. We collapsed. But we made it to the 2nd round, fell to the Edmonton Oilers, who actually have a goaltender now. Say what you want about that team. They're going to be competing for a Stanley Cup every year now. Now, the Florida Panthers are going to go on to beat the Edmonton Oilers in the Stanley Cup final yet again. It's going to be a 6-game series this time. But St. Louis took the Edmonton Oilers to 7 games. Like, that was a really good team, and we put some pressure on them. The real question is, how did our top line perform during the postseason? It performed pretty well. Robert Thomas 15 points, Owen Tippett 12 points, including 6 goals, and then Matthew Knies 11 points, 5 goals, 6 assists. So you know what? We're not going to change up the first line too much. These guys performed when it mattered. In the big time moments, they were able to find the back of the net. So you know what? We're not going to push the panic button yet. These guys can still compete. However, if I was going to be concerned about one thing, it'd be the fact that Jordan Binnington is 33 years old. And I know for a fact in NHL 25, players can regress really quick. So yeah, we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on that. Now, what an amazing selection here with the 83rd overall pick. We're getting a medium elite potential defenseman. Obviously, he's not going to develop in time for us, so he's going to be an amazing trade asset. And what could we possibly do here? We'll package him up alongside Owen Tippett and get an even better sniper. And honestly, that's probably what we're going to do. And then to finish this draft off, why not get a low elite potential player who's also a gem? That's a great finish. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, nothing that we have to do. Texier, I'm not going to be giving you that deal. Toropchenko, how much are you going to be looking for? 1.2 million. I can bring you back. So I'll do 1.2 for 1 season. You're going to return to the team, and then we'll sign these rookies. All right, so here's the move I want to pull off. Owen Tippett and a medium elite potential prospect we drafted for Dylan Guenther. Dylan Guenther, 89 overall, 41 goals last season. He could bring some goal scoring to the team. Matthew Knies, you'll play on the right wing. We're going to have a first line of Dylan Guenther, Robert Thomas, and Matthew Knies. There's no way that fails. They're going to be rejecting that offer right there. I have picks to work with. Do you want a first round pick? I'll give you a first round pick for 2028. You give me Dylan Guenther. You want more picks? Okay. What else do you want? Here's a second round pick for 2029. If we have to, I will do multiple firsts. I mean, who else could we actually give up in this deal that would make a bit of sense? I don't want to trade any of our young guys here. I think we just have to give up draft picks. So we'll do multiple first rounders in this deal. We're going to get risky. So Owen Tippett, a medium elite potential prospect, and 2 first round picks for Dylan Guenther. Y'all are really saying no to that. You're telling me this package right here is not enough for Dylan Guenther. Okay, we have to change things up clearly. Owen Tippett, I have to send you elsewhere. Okay, so here's the plan. It's going to be Owen Tippett and a second round pick for Reinbacher. Reinbacher, you are then going to be flipped over to Utah. They're saying no. Do I have to give you a first round pick? I think I have to give up a first round pick in this deal. If I'm giving you a first round pick, though, I want something back. You have to give me your 2028 second round pick. They're not willing to give me that pick. We're getting finessed here. No, we're seriously getting finessed now that we have to add more. Here's a second round pick for 2028. Give me David Reinbacher. We gave up way too much, but now we're flipping that to Utah. So what we're going to do here is our first round pick for 2028. David Reinbacher and that medium elite potential defenseman. All of this for Dylan Guenther. In theory, this should be enough considering we're fitting their trade block. Will it be enough though? Yes, it will. So Dylan Guenther, welcome to the team. I think we're set now. Now at face value, things might look like they're about to get really complicated. Will Cooley needs an extension. How much money is he looking for? Okay, this is actually way better than I thought it would be. I thought he was going to be looking in the $6 million range. And then you might think, well, how am I going to possibly get this done? Well, we have Brain Shen's money because Shen's not coming back next season. So his money goes to Will Cooley. Problem solved. Then when it comes to everyone else on this team, we're going to be probably looking at like $1 million deals. Theo Lindstein, $1.6 million for 2 years. You're jumping into the lineup next season. Podkolzin, $925K for next season on a 2-way contract. That works. Liljegren, how much are you looking for? That's not happening. So once again, the young guys are getting cheap 2-way contracts, and that's all we really have to worry about. So we made a move over the offseason for Dylan Guenther. He's going to bring some scoring to the first line that we desperately need. The bottom 6 is looking amazing here. The second line's looking amazing. Everything about this team right now is looking amazing. Phil Broberg's turning into a superstar. Noah Dobson's up to a 92 overall. There is 0 weaknesses on this team, except for maybe goaltending. As Benner's dropped to an 83 overall, Joel Holfer is also an 83 overall. I think it's time for Holfer to take over. It's his net now. Alright, I have seen enough. Jordan Binnington and Liljegren, you are being sent over to the Calgary Flames. Dustin Wolf, welcome to the team. What else do you want? Yeah, we're not doing this. We are not doing this right now. I don't know how it's possible y'all have performed as bad as you have. A 15-12-1 record. We should be significantly better than this. Dustin Wolf, you are coming to save this team. We need a goaltender right now. Goaltending is just not doing it for us right now. Jordan Bainton, we just need to move you. We have to free up a bit of money. Like, I can't afford to pay you $5.5 million to be the backup right now. Dustin Wolf, welcome to the team. You're about to save this franchise. Because Joe Holfer was our starter. Let's just say things aren't going well. An $893 and a $365. You're at least on a cheap contract, so you can play as the backup. But yeah, we needed a starting goaltender. Dustin Wolf, welcome to the team. So after acquiring Dustin Wolf, of course, the Blues turned it around here. We're 12th in the entire league, a 33-22-6 record. Considering how we started the season, this isn't terrible, but our defense has to smarten up here. The defense has been really bad for this team. Robert Thomas is a 94 overall, has 58 points though. Franchise potential, 94 overall. He's playing with Dylan Guenther, who is what overall? An 89 with the Superstar X Factor. He's playing alongside Matthew Nyes, who is an 87. -8, -12, -3. What are we doing here? Nah, this Robert Thomas disrespect is getting out of hand. And then when it comes to Dustin Wolf, what are his numbers since joining the team here? He has a 907 and a 293, a 12-5-3 record with 1 shutout. Dustin Wolf has certainly held up his end of the bargain. He's honestly the only reason that we're making the playoffs right now. Without Dustin Wolf, this team would certainly miss the playoffs, but I think we should make a move here. What is that move going to be? I couldn't tell you. Okay, realistically, I actually don't think there is any moves we can make here. We just need players to smarten up, plain and simple. Like, this team, in theory, should be pretty solid. Like, we have 85 overalls playing on the third line. But yet, for some reason, this team just really can't figure it out here. Defensively, 92 overall, 89, 89, 88, 84, 81. But it's still not good enough. No, we just gotta rock with Dustin Wolf. Since acquiring Dustin Wolf, we haven't really been that bad. We've actually been one of the better teams in the league. So let's see how we finish the season. But yeah, considering we're in the second wildcard spot right now, and the Minnesota Wild have the same amount of points as us, we better lock in to finish out the season. The last thing I want us doing is missing the playoffs. Y'all need to lock in like you have never locked in before. We lost 3 games after the trade deadline. This team completely locked in. But it doesn't matter, because I have seen this before. I have seen the St. Louis Blues lock in after the trade deadline or after a big event. Let's call that event 4 Nations. And when the playoffs come around, we lost to a certain team. However, things are a bit different. Dustin Wolf is the starting goaltender this time. Since acquiring Dustin Wolf, he's been pretty good. 27 wins, 6 losses, 3 OT losses, 3 shouts, a 914 and 262. But who do we take on in the first round? The Winnipeg Jets. Who is the Winnipeg Jets starting goaltender right now? Connor Hellebuyck. It's revenge season. It is time to lock in. We need to lock in right now. It's time for the St. Louis Blues to get their revenge on the Winnipeg Jets. We need to dominate from game number 1 to game number 7. We really allowed 5 goals in game number 1 and only scored 1. We responded to game 2, a big 6-3 victory, but we have to win game number 3. We lost 6-3. What are we doing here? You're kidding me. I don't even want to jump into these games. We're just going to simulate game number 5. I believe in the St. Louis Blues. We're winning this game. Yeah, I got nothing to say. We're not looking at stats. We're not looking at anything. Straight to the draft. In 5 games, we lost 3 games after the trade deadline. We proceed to lose 4 of the next 5. Ain't no way. We got a mediumly potential goaltender, but I couldn't care less. I really couldn't. Lost in 5 games to the Winnipeg Jets. We really did that. Like, we are trying to win a Stanley Cup here, and after only losing 3 games after the trade deadline, we just completely fell apart. I don't know what's wrong with the St. Louis Blues right now. I feel like we did everything right there. We did everything right that we possibly could have, and we still found a way to mess it all up. But you know what? There is one bright spot. How good we were after we acquired Dustin Wolf. So we're not doing too much to this team. We might rock the exact same team for the next 2 years as long as we can re-sign everybody, because this team has shown potential. Whether or not they can continue to live up to that potential, that's another question. Torchenko, I just don't think we can afford to keep you here because we have to handle some massive extensions. Now this is why I was a little bit concerned about bringing everyone back. Broberg, Holloway, Bolduc, Matthew Nyes, Snugdrew, Davor, Dvorsky. Yeah, so we have to bring Broberg back. We can't afford to lose him. How much is he looking for? $9.9 million. That will leave us with about $14 million. Dylan Holloway, how much do you want? You want 8.8 for 1 season. Holloway, you're going to be traded away. Zachary Bolduc, how much are you looking for? $4.6 million. Considering you're an 87 overall we could probably make this work. You could probably move into a second line role. That's exactly what's happening. So Zachary Bolduc, we're re-signing you. You're going to play on the second line. So we'll do 4.4 for 1 season. Zachary Bolduc is coming back to the team. Matthew Knies, you haven't really lived up to the hype here. How much are you looking for? 6.6 million. We could probably do that. You know what? These deals might not be nearly as bad as I thought they were going to be. So Matthew Knies will do 5.9 million for 2 seasons. So between you and Zachary Bolduc, that's give or take $10 million. Philip Broberg, I think we could probably get you into the 8 range. So if we did like 8.5 with a no movement, what would you be thinking? It seems like you'd be willing to accept that, so I'm going to offer that over. Broberg's going to be coming back to the team, and I think that would leave us with like $3 million to work with. So Jimmy Snuggerud, we could potentially be losing you here. Dalibor Dvorsky, how much are you looking for? 2.2, we can keep you on the team for sure. Dalibor Dvorsky, 2.2 million. We're definitely going to be running into some financial troubles here. Tyler Tucker, also, how much are you looking for? 2.5. We'll probably have to lose you as well. All right, so I'm trying to crunch numbers in my head right now, but Dylan Holloway, I think we actually do trade you away. Maybe not. Okay, this is really difficult. We have to free up like $3 million, I think. So Jimmy Snuggerud, what are you willing to accept here? Can we do like 3.8 million? He won't accept 3.8. I think he'll accept 3.9. So that leaves us with just under $2 million. If we can free up a little bit of money, we can make a trade here. Like, I just mean like the smallest amount of money. Like, we need to find $2 million somewhere that we can get rid of. I found our man, Carter Yakimchuk. Carter Yakimchuk is our guy. For some reason, he's only getting paid $2.4 million right now. We can bring him in, play him on the second pairing. Colton Parayko, are you willing to go to the Senators? Everything depends on that. You're not willing to go to the Senators. I can flip you elsewhere. What do the Senators want? They want young forwards. Okay, Colton Parayko, I'm going to trade you for a young forward. Okay, we could potentially have it here. Colton Parayko for Kirby Dach, 1-for-1. They're saying no, I'll give you a 3rd rounder or even a 5th rounder. Something to get this deal done. Here's a 3rd round pick. Hopefully that's going to be enough for Kirby Dach. They're saying no because we're not fitting their trade block. Here's a 5th round pick and they'll probably accept this now. You're pretty far away in value, to be honest. Watch me give them this 7th round pick right here and they will accept it. Okay, they're actually saying no. Why are you saying we're really far off? We are not that far off. Look at the trade values. We're pretty close here. You're bugging. So instead of all those picks, how about I just give you this 2nd rounder? Is that going to be enough? Montreal is making this way more difficult than it has to be. So here's this massive deal right here for Kirby Dach. Why will you not give me Kirby Dach? Here's another 7th round pick. Just give me Kirby Dach so I can flip him. So Kirby Dach is now going to be flipped over to the Ottawa Senators with something else in order for us to get Carter Yakimchuk, unless we can go 1-for-1, which we clearly can't. So I'll throw in a 3rd and 6th round pick, and then hopefully that's going to be enough. They're saying no. I'm trading all of our picks for the next couple years here. If I have to give up our 1st round pick, I'll give up our 1st round pick, but it doesn't look like we have to. So let me just double check before I do anything how many extension dollars we have left. So we have 9.9 million. Perfect. That's exactly how much we need. Now it's time for us to do our next trade, because we had to do all of these deals just to free up enough money so when I flip Dylan Holloway here, we'll be okay. Because who are we going to flip Dylan Holloway for? 1-for-1, Logan Stankoven. Welcome to the team, under contract for the next 3 years at $4 million. They won't accept it, but you know what we have? A 6th round pick. Here's a 6th round pick as well. They're saying no. I have a medium elite potential goaltender. I doubt it's going to be enough unless you're interested in him, which you are. So we should be able to get this deal done now. We should be okay. So all of the important pieces are locked down now. Next season, we'll have to sign a couple players for $1 million. But until then, we have our team. All right, I have done everything in my power to build the St. Louis Blues the greatest team imaginable. Robert Thomas, Dylan Guenther, Matthew Knies, Jordan Kyrou, Logan Stankoven, Pavel Buchnevich, Will Cooley, Zachary Bolduc, Jimmy Snuggerud, Podkolzin, Alexandrov, and Dalibor Dvorsky on the 4th line. When it comes to defense, Broberg, Dobson, Yakimchuk, Anderson, Lindstein, Tucker. That's a pretty good team right there. And then in between the pipes, 88 overall Dustin Wolf. We're not stopping at the deadline. We're not making any trades. Ideally, this is the exact same team we rock for the next 2 years. The 3rd defensive pairing might be a little different because we won't be able to re-sign Tucker, but none of that matters. We're going to win a Stanley Cup. What am I looking at? Before we look at this team's record, stats, or anything, why is Joel Hofer the projected goaltender for game number 1? Why on earth would Joel Hofer be our number 1 goaltender moving into the postseason? Like, are we using our heads here? Why does NHL 25 think, oh yeah, we should have 83 overall Joel Hofer start over 88 overall Dustin Wolf? Dustin Wolf this season, 36 wins, 5 shots, a 914, a 272. Joel Hofer, you must have posted godlike numbers if they think you should be the number 1. 9 wins this season, 0 shouts, an 896 and a 319. And the game believes you should be the starter over Dustin Wolf. How does that make any sense? In what universe should Joel Holford be the starter over Dustin Wolf? We finished 3rd in the division. Clearly this team wasn't as good as we thought they would be. I was thinking we would be like top 3 in the entire league. That didn't happen. We were 10th in the entire league. Robert Thomas, 88 points this season. The plus minuses weren't the greatest here. They should have been better. Like, I just want to point out, our second line has been great for a number of years. Busnevich was +4, Kyrie was +2. The team is collapsing. The team is starting to fall apart here. We already know what Dustin Wolf's numbers were. We already know who we're taking on the first round. It's the Minnesota Wild. But why is this team collapsing? I've said it once, so I'm going to say it again here. NHL 25 hates the St. Louis Blues. The NHL 25 wanted to run Joel Holford as the starting goaltender, and they might have been cooking considering we've allowed 10 goals in the first 2 games. Joel Holford, we should have started you. You know what? We're just going to keep on simulating here. We better make a 3-0 series comeback. We did not make a 3-0 series comeback. We have one last chance with this team. Maybe NHL 25 is on to something. You know what? We're actually going to look at stats here. I wasn't going to look at stats, but let's take a quick look. I need to know what this team did. Will Cooley, 6 points. Robert Thomas, 6 points, and he was +5. The fact that he was +5 with the amount of goals we were allowing is actually astonishing. The fact that Robert Thomas did that, nah, he's one of the GOATs. Dustin Wolf, 890 and a 386. Ain't no way. So it's the day before the draft. Tyler Tucker, we can now afford you. So here's 2.7 for the next 2 years. Bushinger, I guess I can bring you back to the team. You want 825K. We can definitely make that work. Podkolzin, you want 1.3 for 1 season. That works for me. So you're coming back to the team. Alexandrov, how much are you going to be looking for? You want 1.3 as well. Yeah, we can do that. So Alexandrov's coming back to the team. Everyone's coming back to the team here. We're not going to do anything in free agency. We are running it back with this team, and they won't mess everything up next time. Joel Holford, I don't care if you don't want an extension. You're coming back for one more season at 1.1. I need you to play some backup minutes, and you are playing backup minutes, not starter minutes, backup minutes. Because you're our backup, not our starter. Still haven't figured out why they thought you were the starting goaltender once the postseason came around. We don't own any picks here. I should have just went right to the re-sign phase. There was no point stopping before the draft. But with all that being said, Dustin Wolf is the starter. This is common knowledge. Now we have one last chance. One last chance with this team to win a Stanley Cup. I don't understand why we can't. Busnevich just moved down to the 3rd line. He's not the player he used to be. Zachary Bolduc, you have to take over for him. I need you to be a 40-goal scorer. I need you to lead this team to greatness. The defense is looking really good here. Goaltending is also very good. First round exit. I can see it all happening. So we got ourselves one last chance, and we have to win this season. Everything has gone our way. We're 3rd in the entire league. Robert Thomas just had a career season where he posted 111 points. This never happens. This might be the first time in history I have ever seen Robert Thomas reach a 94 overall with franchise potential and had 111 points. This doesn't happen. Robert Thomas doesn't do this on NHL 25 or in any NHL game for that fact. Everything that has to happen this season has been happening. Now all we have to do is win 16 games in the playoffs. We got Winnipeg in the first round. Of course, this is how we go out. The Winnipeg Jets and Connor Hellebuyck stand in our way once again. We will not lose for a 3rd time. We will take this franchise down and move on to the 2nd round. We will not fold when it matters most. We lost game number 1, but we're responding in game 2. Game 3 is a big one. We can't afford to lose that one. We're going to close it out 5-0. Can we close out in game number 4? Yes, we can. So game number 5 is a must win for us. We can't afford to lose this one. Can we take down the Winnipeg Jets? We lost 6-2. Win in game number 6. Do not drop game 6. Close it out right here. We've made it to the 2nd round. St. Louis is here to win. So we took down Winnipeg. We have Minnesota next. One game at a time, 1 minute at a time, one series at a time. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We just got to take it game by game, minute by minute, second by second. Do not get ahead of ourselves. Just focus on each game. We've dropped 2 in a row. Do not drop 3 in a row here. We've split the series so far. Game number 5 is the most important game we've seen yet. We can't afford to drop this one right here. We lost 5-4. We can't go this 5-year rebuild without winning a Stanley Cup. That can't happen. We can't go 5 years with the St. Louis Blues, looking at the team I built, and then proceed to lose in year number 5. We're not doing this. Robert Thomas saved the day for us. We lost. We lost in the 2nd round. The furthest this team made it in the playoffs was round number 2. And we lost to the Minnesota Wild, a team who has lost in the first round 8 straight times. We just lost to them. I'm sick. I don't even know what to say. The only thing I can imagine being worse than this is having a 2-goal lead entering the final 2 minutes and then proceeding to allow 2 unanswered goals, with that final goal coming with 1.6 seconds left in the game. That would then force overtime, and then you would make it to double overtime and then lose. Oh wait, that happened for the St. Louis Blues yesterday. Yeah, nothing is going this franchise's way right now.